Alright! Welcome back everybody to Empyrion Galactic Survival. I'm KnowItAllDM. How's everybody doing today? I'm doing great today. Today I'm going to be creating a comprehensive guide to sensors, switches, signals, and circuits. This guide will be split up into 4 different parts, which will have a link to the beginning of each section in the description down below. Part 1. Sensors, switches, and devices. The most basic use of signals is to use a sensor or switch to activate a light or a device. You can activate just about anything with a switch or sensor. You can activate doors, devices, lights. You can also use doors, ramps, bay doors, even landing gear as if they were switches or signals to give a signal to activate or deactivate other devices. So let's show a quick example. One of the most basic uses that we use is we'll use the motion sensor to set up a basic light system. So the light comes on when you enter and goes off when you exit. In order to do that, you're going to want to get your sensors and switches and set them to a motion sensor. Now, there are a variety of things you can choose from. I use levers and motion sensors. I don't really use these other things, except for when I'm creating POIs. I'll use trigger plates, trap doors, and single-use trap doors. I almost never use light barriers. A light barrier is basically a motion sensor, but for single blocks straight in front of it. So, but we're going to use a motion sensor for the lights. We're going to set up the motion sensor using the interactive setup in the devices tab. And when we do this, we can see what the area of the sensor is. And we can modify this by using control, the left control, and enlarging it or reducing it with left control and left alt. As you can see, it explains in the lower right hand corner there exactly what to do. So I'm going to make these large enough to go immediately outside this wall there and right up to these other walls here. So as when I open this, you'll see that this comes right to here. And so the light will come on when I'm here and go off when I'm out here. So I'm going to set this signal here to lights. If I had more than just these, I would set it to the name of the room, say hanger lights, for example. But we're also now going to come into here and set the lights for lights. Now you'll notice that they are going to turn off because the signal isn't yet triggered, because I have to leave and then come back in to actually trigger it. And from now on, every time I leave, they'll go off. And when I come back in, they'll come on. It does take half a second or so for it to register me in or out. And sometimes the lights, like if you have like 10 lights, they'll come on like flickering on, like they won't all come on simultaneously. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's one of the most basic uses of it. You can also utilize switches to activate devices such as large constructors. But another thing that a switch does is it makes it so that you can activate a door. Because normally the doors automatically open and close. But let's say you wanted to make this a manual door. Then what I would do is I would come into here, set the lever door B. And then we'll come over to here and find door B, which is there. And if you look at a device when you press the P for control panel, it'll actually automatically highlight that. And then we're going to select this and set it to door B. Now, you can do this with a sensor or anything like that, and you'll notice that it only activates now when either I manually open it or with the switch. So if I were to put a sensor that activated it here in this square, but not this one here, then it would activate when I come here and then close behind me right here, and I couldn't get back in that way without manually opening it. So let's go ahead and get that closed. But there's a lot of things that you can do with these sensors and signals. Another thing that you'll notice is that in here, when I look at the door, when I'm assigning it, there are 4 different things here. Follow, toggle, on, and off. Normally, I use follow. If I were to set it to toggle, then it would be like on, off. As you can see, it toggles it from whatever it is, then off. So that's something that's really useful. For example, if you, instead of a switch, let's say you wanted to use a trigger plate, and we put the trigger plate here, okay? Then when I walk on this, the door would open. Let me go ahead and set it to door B. It might not let me because, okay, it does. So it'll open, and then it'll close. Part 2, control panel signals. The control panel, when you open it up and go to the main tab, you'll notice there's this signals area over here. And what this is you can assign specific signals there. Now this I utilize more often in vehicles like small vessels or capital vessels to activate specific weapons or to activate like flight systems. And to do that, all you do, you come in here, you select it, and then you'd put, say, flight systems. And then when you come into the device and you find what you want to add to the flight system, say individual thrusters, you go to signal logic, and then you can assign it to flight systems. So now anytime flight systems comes on, let me turn the power on. You can turn that, let's see, which one did I assign? Was that one of the bottom ones or one of the front ones? It was one of the bottom ones, wasn't it? That was, oh, one of the top ones. So up here, you'll notice that thruster is off, and then it turns on with this signal here. And then you can assign all your thrusters to that same signal. I do this more often for weapons and in combination with our next section, which is going to be circuits. You can also do this on, say, a base. If you have turrets and you want to activate certain turrets, like with this would activate all your turrets and weapons. So like even internal defenses, external defenses, everything. With the signals, you could set up, say, internal defenses, ENSES, and then you could set up external turrets. And then you could have, let's say you had some projectile turrets and you had some sentry guns, okay? If I wanted to put these sentry guns, let's say I put 4 of them in here, okay? What? That was weird. And then I put like this, that. That's weird. Very weird. You're seeing this, right? Things are falling. That's very, very weird. At least you can actually pick them up now if they do that, but they shouldn't do that. And then if, let's say I'm going to go ahead and come out here and set up cannon turrets, all right? If I wanted to set these cannon turrets, say, here, oh, that's not the right kind. I need base turrets. Set up cannon turrets like so. I don't know why it's doing that. That's very, very weird. Is it going to do it on this side too? Yep. Okay. Can I pick this up? Yeah. That's just weird. But in any case, so now if I were to activate and deactivate these, all of the turrets will go in and out with the turrets and weapons. And so if I don't want that, if I say I wanted the internal and external defenses, I would use the signal and the signals on the base here and set this up so that the sentry guns are internal defenses like so, and the cannon turrets are external turrets like so. So now you can see that if I activate the internal defenses, the turrets on the interior will come in, but the ones out here will not. And then if I activate the external defenses, those will activate, and I can turn off the internal defenses, and you'll have them set up separately so that, like, on a base, you can activate these, you know, on a whim, say whenever, oh, drones incoming, okay, bloop, external defenses activated, and, you know, you'll have your turrets out there ready. And then when it says, oh, the drones are gone, you can retract them. You can also set it so that that the devices, like, let's say you wanted to set these so that what I would do is I would set it so using other things so that, like, if you activate internal defenses, the internal guns only pop up when someone's inside, so that if an enemy, if you activate them and an enemy comes in, then they'll come out. But that's using circuits, which we're going to get to next. Part 3, circuits. Now let's get into more advanced usages of signals, the circuits. Circuits are basically, circuits use one or more signals to activate other signals. The basic circuits are the 2x and 4x and then the 2 OR and 4x OR, along with the inverter and the delay. What these do, the AND circuits must all be activated to activate their signal. So a 2x AND, both whatever you set these to, have to be activated in order to activate the signal that you set up over here. The OR, either one of them can be activated or both to activate the signal. The inverter basically is on when the input signal is off, and off when the input signal is on. The delay basically activates the next signal on a delay. So, for example, I can set a delay circuit with lights and let's just do internal def. And then I will change the sentry guns. Let me come out here. Okay. Let's set the sentry guns to internal def because I can't type defenses completely there. All right. So I can do this. Set this on a 5-second delay. So now when I come in, the lights come on, and then a few seconds later, the sentry turrets will activate. Then when I leave, the lights go off, and a few seconds later, the sentry turrets deactivate. And 5 seconds is usually a good amount just for testing purposes. I have set delay circuits up to a minute or longer on delays for POIs, and that way you know, you have enough time to do things before bad stuff happens. But you can also combine circuits. So if I were to do this, let's say I did an and so I did lights and internal def, and then I do a and lights and internal def, and then I go and put this as ID on. Now if I change these to ID on, like so, all right, if I would leave, they immediately go out. And then if I come in, for some reason they come out, and then wait a second, and then they activate. But they only activate, you'll notice. All right, so they go in, I come in. I don't know why they activate and deactivate like that. It's weird. That's not what it's supposed to do. But, so you can screw around with these and figure out, you know, things like that. Because this, theoretically, this would be lights activates the delay, and then when internal def pops on, it would check to see if lights is on at that time, and then turn them on. But it's not doing that for some reason. It's weird. But anyway, sensor, they're not perfect. But so basically, like, if I leave and then come in and leave, they'll just stay closed. That's what it's supposed to do. But for some reason they open and then close and then open, and yeah, that's very, very weird. But anyway, let's just get rid of those and then just deactivate these because we don't really need those or anything. So we're going to ignore that for now. But another thing you can do with circuits, and this is a little bit more complicated, is first we're going to set up a switch for the lights. So right now it's solely working on this sensor. Okay, so I'm going to set up a light switch over here, and I'm going to set this to lights B, or light B. Okay, and that's what one thing that I often do is I'll set this up like I'm about to show you. Then I will do a simple 2x and I will do lights and lights B and call this lights on. And now for the lights, I will set this to lights on. And so the lights only come on when the switch is on and you're inside. So if I turn the switch on and then leave, the lights still go off and come on, but it will go off if I turn it off. Also, I can set the sensor itself so that it is on and off with lights B. So if I do that, the lights will go off, and the sensor itself also shuts off, saving you just that little bit extra of power. A more complex thing that you can do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to reset these to just the lights, because I don't really need a lights on and off right here. But what I'm going to do, I could have swore I just set these to lights, and that's light B. That's weird, because it's not, it's still doing, what? Oh, that's because it's turning that off. There we go. I'm like, what? Okay, so you could all like, yeah. Anyway, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up 2 more motion sensors. These motion sensors are going to activate these cargo doors. So I'm gonna set this to, let's see, this is which cargo door? This is hangar door A. So I'm going to set this to hangar A. And then we're going to set it interactive. I want it right there. So it still activates when you're here, but I want this to activate all the way out there. So when you're coming in, it'll activate at a longer distance. Okay, so now we're going to set this to hangar A. This over here is going to be hangar B, and we're going to do the same thing for this one. This will be hangar B, and we're going to set it interactive all the way out that direction and down to the ground. So when you're coming in, it will activate. I'm actually going to put it a little lower so it activates all the way there. Okay. And then we're going to set you to hangar B. So now when you're here, it opens. When you're out, it closes. And the same thing happens with this. I do this a lot so that I can walk in and out of hangars. But I also do it to increase the range at which hangars open, so you don't have to fly, stop, fly, you know, so you can just keep on flying and it'll open and close more fluidly. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put a switch next to each door, and we're going to put this as hangar BS. Yeah, I know, BS, but that's a switch. And then this will also be hangar AS. Not the best use of lettering, but still. Now, we're going to utilize two XORs. The first one is going to be hangar A or hangar AS. And then hangar B or hangar BS. So we're going to do, I think hangar is actually spelled with an ER, but I'm not sure. Hangar? No. Hangar B open. Hangar A open. Now we're going to set this to hangar B. Is this A or B? This is A. This is going to be hangar A open. So we can either use this, or it should be or be in front of it. Why is the or not working? Do XOR, hangar B. Because that should work. It really should. Okay, hangar A. But that's not, hold on. Oh, wait, that's BS. Hold on. And then this is, wait. Door A. Okay. Hangar, let's, hold on. I got the sensors all mixed up. This is door B. So this should be hangar BS, and this should be like so. Okay, so I still don't know why that's not working, unless I didn't set this to, yeah, this should be hangar B open. Okay, so that opens and closes, and then open. There we go. That was user error, that, by the way, with what just happened there. This should be hangar A. Well, it'll be hangar AS, and then this should be hangar A open. So either that or the sensor. Now, if I turn that open and I come into here, it's open and it's just going to stay open. because of this. So as long as this is open, the door stays open. Okay. Now, if you wanted to set another switch, let's say you didn't want the hangers to open on the sensor and you wanted to open both of them at one time or one individually. I can put this switch here and set it as hangers open, and then set two 2x ORs. So now I can do hanger A open, hanger B open, or hangers open like this. Hanger A open. Let's just do. This is a little confusing. Hanger A OP2. Okay, and then. All right, now we can set this from hanger B open to hanger B OP2. Set this to hanger A OP2. Now, these will activate them. When you walk in front of them, it'll activate them. And that one, wait, why is that not opening that one? Let me check my signal thing. Hangers open, hanger A OP2. Oh, because this didn't change. There we go. Now, this switch will open both of them at the same time, and it'll make the other two switches not really do anything. Or you can turn this off, open them individually with the individual switches, which will make it so the sensor doesn't work. Or you can just turn that off and the sensor will work like normal. Now, if you wanted to set it so that the doors don't open, we can set this other switch over here, and we can set this for hangers closed. Now we can set an inverter. Let's put this hangers off. Now we can do hangers off, inverter, hangers on. Now we can do two AND switches. We can do hangers A OP2 and hangers on, hangers B OP2 and hangers on, so that this switch has to be off for those other switches to work. Now we can set this to hanger A OP3, hanger B OP3, and we can set this hangers B OP3, hanger A OP3. Now, if I turn this on, they won't open no matter what I do. Until this switch is off. Now they'll go back to their original functionality as of opening with that. This will keep it open. So basically, when this switch is on, it keeps them open unless that switch is on, which keeps them closed. Then these individual ones will keep them open until that's closed. Now, if you want to set it so that that sensor and this sensor can be turned off so that you can open and close it without letting it use this. Okay. we can set another switch over here. Hanger sensors off. Now this is the easy part where we just go to the sensors on and off, hanger sensors off, invert. And then the other one is also hanger sensors off, invert. So now, as long as that is off, they'll work normally. If I do this, the sensors go off, but the manual on and off still works. Like so. I can still come over here and they'll stay closed. I think that's what that one does. And then over here, and they'll both still open, but the sensors themselves don't function until I turn this switch back off, and they'll function like normal. Part 4. Advanced circuit setup. Now, with the advanced circuit setup, I usually do advanced circuit setups with small vessels, like this one. This is the GX603 Assault Shuttle, which is a modification of my GX402 Gatling Shuttle. And I think I've mentioned this before, but I may not have. But with this, what we do, I'm going to go ahead and just turn that off. We're going to keep the flight systems. And I'm going to set this up with you on camera like I normally set up small vessels such as this. So here's what I do. I want a cruise and a coast. The cruise is when you're in space and you activate your cruise with the Shift W or Shift whatever key. But the Shift W will keep you moving forward in space. You basically press the Shift key to lock in whatever directional key you're pressing. When you activate the cruise, what this does is it's going to cut off everything except for the rear thrusters and possibly one or both of the RCSs. That way it saves a lot of power while you're cruising through space. Coast is the same as cruise, except it leaves the bottom thrusters on so that when you're on a planet, you don't fall to the planet's surface. Then I'm going to have to set up a docking sensor down here. What that is for is that sometimes when you go into a base or something, your landing gear will come down when you're not trying to land. And since I'm going to set up one of my landing gear, this one here, with a signal logic gear down, I don't want it turning that on and off all the time, only when I have docking deactivated. So docking is going to be to get around a bug. If that bug didn't exist, I really wouldn't need the docking thing, but I'm also going to set it up so that the docking deactivates this thruster and this one, so it's a lot easier to maneuver inside a structure without slamming forward because of the major thrust that those give. So that's what these are going to be. Now, in the signal logic, I'm going to need to set this up with 4 inverters. I'm going to invert gear down, call it gear up. I'm going to invert cruise, coast, and docking. This is going to be no cruise, no coast, and no docking. Now, what we're going to want to set up is we're going to want to set up the main flight system, which is going to be a 2 and. So what this is going to be either gear up or docking. So I'm going to also need an or. Let's put the or before the and. So this is going to be either gear up or docking. Gear up or dock. This is going to be flight systems on and gear up or dock for flight mode. Now what this is going to do, it's going to be when you are landed or when the gear is down, which should only be when you're landed, then it's going to cut off all the thrusters except for the bottom thrusters. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to set flight mode to all the thrusters except the thrusters that are going to be required for hold on. We're going to set flight mode on, we're going to need to do flight mode with the no cruise and no coast. So that's going to be 2 ands. So no cruise, no coast, along with flight mode and with no, actually with no cruise. Okay, so we want to set this to flight systems instead of flight mode because we want this to be active with the no cruise regardless of whether the gear is up or down or docking is on or off. Because of this next thing, which is going to be flight no cruise, flight no coast, this is going to be normal flight. I guess we'll have to normal flight. Okay, so this normal flight is basically anything, like all the thrusters should be on for normal flight regardless. But the next thing we want the docking thing, and we want, with the docking no docking, we want to set this to no docking, but we also want to set it to normal flight or flight mode. Flight mode, no docking. That's what we want to set it to. And this will be flight, no dock. And we can go ahead and move that up to here. I think I've got this right because without an example that I already have out, I'm trying to recreate this from things. So, okay. I think we've got these set up as we currently need them. So, what we want to do, we want to set these forward thrusters to normal flight. These are going to be off whenever you are in cruise mode, coast mode, or landed, like so. These are going to be activated regardless unless you're landed. So these are going to be flight mode. Just set to flight mode, like so. Because in cruise and coast, you're going to need those for your forward momentum. Even though right now there's a bug where you can just completely deactivate them and you keep going. I think that's kind of, you know, not very good. I think they're going to fix that eventually, maybe, if the devs get a hold of it. These down here are going to be flight mode, no docking. So, actually, no. It needs to be normal flight, no docking. So we're going to set this to flight no dock and flight no dock. Because we only want them on in normal flight. We don't want them on with cruise or coast. And we don't want them on when you're docking. So normal flight, no dock. These up here let's see, this one is going to be normal flight and normal flight. All right, and now we're gonna have to lift this up to get the last ones. Okay, let's turn all the flight systems on because for some reason it was being weird. But okay, now these down here are going to be set to, oh, it's looking at the landing gear. That's weird. This is going to, these are going to be set to flight no cruise because we want them off. We want them on when coasting and off when cruising. So flight no cruise. We're going to do the same with this one. Flight no cruise and flight no cruise. Like that. So now, why is it going down? That's, what? Okay. Okay, something is not right. Something is very, very not right. Okay. Something is not set right. There's a thruster that is still on that does not need to be on. What thruster is on? They're all off. Apparently there's a hidden thruster somewhere. That's weird. What thruster's on? Huh? What thruster is on? Regardless, let's go ahead and set the RCSs. We're going to set these just for normal mode. So that with cruise, and one of these will be flight no cruise. So that one of them's on when you're coasting, the other is not. But that's weird. Flight systems are not activating something. Flight mode. Okay. Let's get out here because I think it's because of the glitch that I was telling you about. Because when I come into here, yeah, you see my landing gear go down, and the landing gear for some reason are staying down. You see, and so if I didn't have docking on, it would cut things off. And for some reason, when the gear are down, I was falling there. Maybe because of the angle I was at, I don't know. But in any case, so now if I take docking off, all 4 rear thrusters are activated. If I land out here, my docking gear go down and all the thrusters cut off, except for the bottom ones, which I need to launch. Perfect. Okay, so now I can go ahead and set up, let's do Gatlings, rockets. I still don't know why. Let's see, if I go up in the air. Okay, they're all working now. Okay, so it's working as intended now. So now let's set the Gatling guns to Gatlings. Okay. So that they'll be retracted when I need them to be. And then the rockets activate with rockets. Like so. So now I can utilize this to activate either just the Gatlings or just the rockets. Now we're going to set up our lights because our light systems are a little bit of flavor to the small vessel. So let's set this to weapons. All right. The first one up here is going to be set to weapons. So it's on when the weapons are on. All the rest of these are going to be set to flight mode, like so. This so that they activate when flight mode is activated, which means I'm off the ground and able to fly. So now I get up in the air and all my lights are active. You may not be able to see them that well. Let's go ahead and make it dark. And now you can see them a lot better. So we've got the docking lights going, or I guess the, you know, the red and green lights along with the upper guiding lights. That's what they're called, the guiding lights, with the thing going. And then when I activate any of my weapons, it emits this sort of red glow, letting me know from this angle I've got weapons activated. So this way I know that if there's no red glow, both of my weapons are offline, and then I can do that, and the red glow activates, letting me know I'm free to fire. So that is how I've basically got this shuttle set up in my blueprint, because I spawned it in and then deactivated all the sensors and everything, and figured I'd go put them on with you in person. Now, if you guys like this shuttle, it's going to be uploaded to the workshop. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. GX, the most updated versions of the Gatling shuttle right here is going on to the workshop. That's the GX412, and then the GX603 assault shuttle is going up to the workshop right now. So you can check out my workshop and get those. My original Gatling shuttle is also on the workshop here. And then I don't have the mid version of it. This one I set up after they set retractable weapons, but not the landing gear, and it's got the old style cockpit and all. But the GX, what was it? The 412 is updated for Alpha 9, and the GX603, this one right here, is also updated for Alpha 9. So you can get both of these assault craft. And one thing you may notice is that it's got these, hold on, it's got these LCDs on the side, and you can put your name on there, and that way, you know, people know what you're, like, that it's yours, and you can change the number, of course, on here from, you know, 0 to 1, or whatever number you want, so that people know how many of these shuttles you have or have had. You will notice these in our multiplayer starting next week. And you'll see these shuttles in action. I will not be flying one. I will be flying our larger shuttle, which has more carrying capacity than these two dinky little 250s. But Captain Adonis and Fragalot will be flying in these. And of course you can change out the weapons and whatever you want, but I've already got these sensors and switches set up as they are. And of course you can change the color schemes or textures or whatever. But in any case, that's going to be it for this little, this showcase episode update thing, with a whole bunch of content and stuff in it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button for me. And if you want to see more of this type of content, let me know in the comments down below. I'm KnowItAllDM, and as always, y'all have a good day now.